Kenny here with Gardening Simplified. It's been a little bit, it's been hot. It's the 15th of June and we'll give you a garden tour. Hopefully the wind won't be too bad on the mic, but we'll start at this side. This is where we had this tarp with the black plastic for about 2-3 weeks, and it's untarped now. I'll start putting in my new beds. Over here we've tarped where the purple hulls were, and further down there kill all that grass. We'll give that 2-3 weeks. Or succession planting, where we took out some of the purple hulls and we made this new bed. This is the Hopi turquoise corn, and it's doing good. We've got some sunburst patty pan squash in here, and then we've got our dragon tongue beans, which are doing good too. I do have a couple pieces of grass that want to come up in here, but it's real easy to take that out. And we have our curry squash that we put in here, which are all doing good. It looks like we have just a little pest damage there, which we'll have to take care of. Over here we had a bout with the cabbage loopers. I believe it was cabbage loopers, but that was taken care of. Also, our dahlias are just fixing to bloom. We've got a few of them that have their flower head up, and of course our zinnias are doing good. The only problem is, now that I've taken out the broccoli and I'm going to replant this, I'm going to have to take these out of here. So I'll just save the blooms for seed for next year and pull those up. Now we'll come across here. I need to really get out here and prune on my Cherokee purples. We have some good size fruit setting, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually prune out some suckers and pot them up so I can have some more fall tomatoes. Speed that up. And I'm thinking about doing a test with these, taking and pruning some and not pruning some. We have a few beets left, which is nothing special, and still have a lot of jalapenos coming on. I do need to weed in here in these ones, which should be pretty easy if I take care of. My tomatoes I've kind of let go. I haven't trimmed any of the blight. What I'm doing is going ahead and harvesting off what's left as it comes ripe, because I'm fixing to convert these beds. So I don't really want these tomatoes to continue and be in the way. That I've kind of flagged and marked off where my beds will be, and it seems that most of my tomatoes are right in the middle of where a row should be. So all right, we'll go back up here. I've kind of let the blight take over these about another 2 weeks, and I'll end up harvesting. And let's see if we can get a better view here. These are up about pretty close to 4 foot out of their container, so they're really going strong. Hopefully that's a sign that there's a lot of potatoes in here, so I'll have some seed. These are, if you've watched my videos, these are the Magic Molly, the purple potato, and we'll see how that goes. As we come around here, I just been letting my arugula grow. I said if it goes to seed, then I'll collect seed, because this bed will be tore down as soon as everything finishes up. Now the green beans, this was a succession planting just to get a few handfuls to eat. We picked just about a handful off them. Our squash is up here. The heat, we've been high 90s, bumping around 97, 98, so they don't like that. Our little our chard, which it's had a little pest damage too, but it's going strong. Our Atlantic giant pumpkins, there's a smaller one over there, and here's the bigger one. Of course, it's still going, but it's the heat is kind of rough on it, and it's got some size to it. So now we'll come over here to the new bed. This bed is the new part of the garden that we expanded. We've actually got pretty much most of the weeds I still need to deal with there, and I've been mulching between the rows, get that down. Now this row here is curry squash, and then we have some zipper cream peas in here. And we go on down, these ones that are up, these were the ones that were just planted, I think maybe a week ago, if that long. These are the Mississippi silver skin green peas. And then we have our speckled limas. They're coming up. They're just a little slower to pop the top, but we've got almost getting pretty close to 100% germination. In here we have a row of Blue Lake green beans. This planted 2 days ago. And in here we have the BVR purple hull peas that were planted 2 days ago. And we'll kind of go down in here, and you can see one of them's coming up. They'll be up here probably by tomorrow. They ought to start really popping up. And then down here we have some butternut squash. And then we have some fall sugar pie pumpkin. And then we have 3 Big Macs that were grown from the early crop of pumpkin seed. So ought to have some ready close to Halloween. We definitely got like a weed patch right in the middle, and that's actually where the vines start, or right where all the weeds are up. We do have a lot of little watermelons down in here, all kind of hiding. A few that's getting close to ready. They kind of got some sunspots on them, but and we pulled a couple because of that, and then we pulled them just a little bit early, even though they sound good. When it's drier, it sounds like it's got more ripeness to it when you thump it, and plus it'll have the signs, all the signs that's there as far as your little curlicue will be dry. Your bottom will be, your field spot will be creamy colored. It'll be, everything will be like it's ripe, and it'll have good color, but it's not quite have the sweetness yet. So anyway, those are doing pretty good. We're starting to see a few more marigold flowers. This is the early girls, which are the early girl bush, and Blight's about got these. This, like I say, I'm going to take these out, and I'll probably use part of my cane to set up my frame for my lima beans, my speckled lima beans. Okay, let's see, we're going to go down here to where the sweet potatoes are. We'll pass by these watermelons sitting here. You can see how it looks like the vine's drying and everything else, but they're just not quite ripe. And plus, whenever I planted these, I didn't put in quite enough effort. We have our sweet potatoes down here. Let me zoom back out. This patch keeps getting wider and wider. It was originally, with the rows, it was only about half this size, and now it's more than doubled. Down here we've taken out most everything. There are some a few acorn squash down here, but we figured we'd leave them until we get ready to tarp this section. Looks like I need to come in and get a nettle. Definitely don't want these things seeding and coming back. We pulled up butternut. You can see some that was drugged down there. We should have our new ones, and our new ones should do better because they'll start growing in the heat, but then it'll start cooling down to where they can make. We still have our buttercups going, but it's really, they're really smaller, and a lot of it is to do with the water. I still have the overhead sprinkler on so I can keep the sweet potatoes done, but that doesn't do good for these plants. I have some a second crop that's just now sprouting. They'll go over here in this new section. I'll bring some more rows down, but these are pretty much done. As the vine starts dying next to the squash, I'll come down here and harvest them. But it's just the heat is just too rough on them. They should have been in a little bit earlier. They wouldn't have kept through winter, but it gives you an opportunity to eat them during the summertime for those of us that like some of the winter squash. But the next batch will be ready just in time for long-term storage. Let's see what's off in here. Looks like we got a soft spot on that one. It's pretty much gone. They might take it out and see what's there, but I'm going to say it's pretty much gone. And I have plenty more work. I picked up a load of compost Thursday and spread it out to make my other beds, and use part of the compost that I had that I'd purchased in the spring, about half of that bin, and now I have another one. It's not the best time for spreading compost, being it's in the mid to high 90s, I get out here in the morning time, and sometimes I can work till about 11. It just depends. Today's a good day that I can do some work because it's overcast. But whenever the sun's out and whenever the clouds start going away, 11 gets pretty tiring by then, and then I end up coming back out about 6:30, and with my tree line back there, the sun starts dropping behind it about 7. So what I normally do is in the evening, I don't do too much working on the beds, maybe some, but normally I go in and I hand water all my seeds or my plants that I set out, let them get established roots. Even though they have the drip, they come up far quicker. My peas and beans are usually up in 3 days, not 5 to 10 days or 7 to 10 days like a lot of them. If they get good water, they jump up in a hurry. So that's why everything looks good, is because it was watered morning and evening. With the temperature as high as they are, it doesn't take long to dry the surface out, and being these are planted in compost, it needs to stay good and moist so the seeds will germinate. In this tour, we'll take a look at some of the fruit trees too and see how they're doing. This is one of the figs. The two figs here. This one here is it's getting pretty close to 3.5, maybe 4 foot tall. Remember, these were rooted last year. There was 5. Well, actually there was 7 or 8, and I gave some away, but the 5 that I kept actually died. Now these have set some figs here. They're small, but they've actually they dropped some earlier. That one did. This one here, it's shorter. This is maybe 2.5 foot tall. Now it's set quite a bit more fruit, and it's shorter, but it seems to be doing just a little bit better. It's not growing as fast, but it is doing great. So these 2 that survived ought to be good. Now we'll go take a look at what happened to the peaches. Okay, the peaches. Now these are both the same variety, but one always has a lot darker leaves than the other one. But this Alberta here, even though I took a whole lot of the fruit off, it's still, you can see its limbs were not strong enough. Now these are still actually growing, and I keep saying, and I need to do it, is get out here and air root these limbs so that I can have some other peaches, because I've lost a few trees. Now the squirrels got most of these except 3. I did get 3 off it. Now this one actually has some. They're not the prettiest peaches, but it actually has a few left. Like I say, they're just not, they're not the biggest peaches. They're kind of small, and I don't know that I'll even get any because the squirrels are after them. Now Gigi, she watches and she runs over here, but they haven't got scared enough from her to stop. Now we'll go look at the pear tree. This year, and this is a Bartlett, and normally this tree will set maybe a half a dozen. Last year it just set 1, and then I did a little hand pollinating, and I think the bees actually come in and worked on it. But now it is set gobs of them, and you can see we have the same situation right here where these limbs have actually snapped from the weight. this tree was real upright, and it's because it didn't have fruit, so it didn't pull the limbs out and start giving it some of that normal pear look to it. But these are nice big pears. I've pulled some off of these already, let them ripen up in on the counter, and one that had fell off early because the wind, I had let it ripen up and ate it last night, and I tell you, it sure was good. But these are getting real close. They're starting to yellow just a little bit, and pulling them off, I don't have to worry about the squirrels getting them, for one. I don't know that they'll attack the pear tree, but let's not give them a chance. And it'll actually relieve some pressure from some of these limbs that are on here too. Okay, let's not hold anybody in suspense, and especially me. Let me see this here. Like I say, these haven't been ripe. This is starting to have a problem. So, and normally when they're good and ripe, of course, and they're full of water, they want to split wide open. And this one here has some good color. We're going to cut out that part that looks like it's got bad, but we're going to take and taste this. And it's ripe, but it just isn't real sweet. And that tends to be a lot of the situation this year. It's not really worth putting this in the freezer or the refrigerator. And for some reason, a lot of it is probably due to I didn't fertilize these plants very good when I first planted them like I normally would. And I actually didn't start these plants in the ground. Watermelons tend to do better when their seeds are planted in the ground. They don't do as well when you start them in containers. The reason I did start these in containers were because I didn't have everything ready as far as to put them out. So I said, well, I'll get a jump on them. I'll go ahead and get them out. And I would have done better if I just waited and planted the seed. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you think that it has some kind of value, share it, of course. If you like it, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you're new to my channel and you're not subscribed and you'd like to see more of them, hit the subscribe and hit that bell button so whenever a new one comes out, you'll be notified. Happy gardening.